This is how we ride. This is how we do.
Well, one of the more interesting comments or things that happened this last week was the conversation between David Gravel and Christopher Bell. And not necessarily the entire conversation, but one of the instances where Christopher Bell addressed his ability to race on dirt and the reasoning behind that. Now, I'm going to let this clip roll, and you can kind of listen along, but it's about a minute and a half where he kind of details some of the things that he says. You could go and watch this full talk show with David Gravel. It's around the 2-hour mark, hour 45-minute mark on David Gravel's YouTube channel. But here is some of the comments as to Christopher Bell and dirt track racing, and it is very, very interesting.
But, you know, Joe Gibbs has been extremely, extremely vocal about his, I don't want to use the word hatred, but it's pretty close to hatred towards dirt track racing, and just, you know, he does not love dirt track racing or open wheel racing at all. And yeah, I mean, before me and Coy had a great relationship, Coy Gibbs, and I would always funnel my dirt track stuff through Coy, and Coy would, he loved it. He thought it was really good for me to do. And, you know, he would kind of tell his dad that, you know, that we talked about it, and he thought that it was fine for me to go do. So obviously Coy passed away in November, and I kind of lost that, you know, that connection. And Joe was very vocal about me not dirt track racing. So for the time being, I'm not going to be dirt track racing. And yeah, but I mean, the Chili Bowl is a great event, and I just hope that they continue to grow it. And, you know, there's so many things that the Chili Bowl has going right for it, and there's, you know, if they continue.
Well, I think you kind of get the point. They're going to go talking into the Chili Bowl and things of that sort, and what it can be doing and all that. But you kind of got the gist, and everyone I feel like has been asking, where's Christopher Bell on the dirt tracks? So it was very interesting. Once Larson came and did what he did on the dirt tracks and then did the late model stuff, the debate of who's a better driver kind of went away, and Kyle Larson all of a sudden became the greatest of all time. And I hate to reference this when trying to argue Joe Gibbs, because I don't necessarily think I'm going to argue him. I'm going to give a bunch of reasons as to why he may hate dirt track racing. One of the main reasons I dislike NASCAR, Mr. Gibbs, is because it's full of a bunch of paper champions. Okay? In those race cars, the car drives you, you don't drive the car. And the greatest example of this situation, of the cars driving the drivers and the drivers ain't driving the cars, is Kyle Larson. We're talking about somebody who had 6 wins in 6 years in the NASCAR Cup Series. Some people were doubting if Larson was a NASCAR Cup talent before the N-word situation occurred. If he was just a dirt guy who was okay on asphalt, he just ain't got what it takes to be successful. And then you put him in a good car, a Hendrick, and he whoops the series ass. And is now considered a championship contender all the time. Might have had a chance this last year if y'all didn't let your little click happen down there on the back straightaway at the Roval. So the NASCAR Cup Series is the biggest falsity of a professional top-level league that there is, period, in the world of sports. There is no fair system to get drivers up into the NASCAR Cup Series. There's no logistics on selecting drivers based on merit. It's all based on nepotism and monarchy, as Gibbs is obviously proving with Ty Gibbs. Yeah, Ty Gibbs can drive, but okay, so what? He's only where he's at through nepotism and monarchy. And we're talking about a sport that's ran by a few families. That's why I call racing in America a microcosm of the world politics. Because that's what happens in the world as well when you get to the banking system. And these families that run NASCAR are the bankrolls to the system. So it's pretty pathetic how NASCAR publicly gets recognized as the NFL level of racing when they are literally a private club of rich people that hand select little boys and girls to come and race in their $1 million racing operations. If a 16-year-old boy is down the street right now, and he don't have a lot of money, and his daddy's busted his ass, and put him in a race car, and then there's another 16-year-old boy down the street who's got a multi-million-dollar family, and they put him in a race car. If those two 16-year-olds race, and the poor boy, the one who's got a dad killing himself to get him out there, wins 20 races, and the rich kid wins 4, the rich kid goes to NASCAR because he has the millions. The NASCAR people don't come in here and look for talent, they look for money. But that's not how it works in other sports. The high score, the higher performer moves up. That's not what happens in motorsports, ladies and gentlemen. This is the biggest misconception in America. And that might be a reason Joe Gibbs don't like dirt racing. This looks way harder, way more exciting. They're wide open. They're 900 horsepower. And the more dirt gets attention, the more this situation will be exposed. Now, Joe Gibbs may not like dirt racing because if that ever does get exposed, all of his investment is just junked. Could you imagine if every single American knew how NASCAR drivers were selected? Their respect would instantly go out the window. And with the loss of respect goes the loss of mainstream support from fans, sponsors, and casual individuals in the world. That's why NASCAR lives on an illusion, because most of the people think they're just like NFL. They just get the best. It's the best of the best drivers in the world in Cup Car. You don't have anything that proves that fact. The only way you can tell me that you have the best NASCAR Cup drivers is because you select them all. There is no tryout. I guess you would consider running a truck for a year, a tryout. Oh, that's just $3.5 to $5 million for tryouts. Oh, and you got to be 16 to 18 or 20 years old. Oh, I don't know anyone who can mow enough yards. The working class, the talent. Imagine if the NFL had a price tag on who could come and play the game. You think all the impoverished individuals, white, black, brown, and indifferent, would be able to make it to the NFL? Hell no, even though they are more talented. So I fully understand why he don't like dirt racing, because dirt racing could destroy his empire that he's built on the backs of the illusion. Just saying. Stay awake, ladies and gentlemen, or stay aware. Stay aware of what really actually goes on. And the things that people do not like about dirt are not necessarily the racing or anything like that. It's a threat to their money and their business. We could really put a right hook into the illusion of what NASCAR has built over the last 30 years. And personally, that's what I think Joe Gibbs hates about dirt racing. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Leave a comment below, like, share the video, and be sure to subscribe. We will catch you next time.
This is how we ride. This is how we do. Riding mud, sliding